Today's topic, we're talking about DIY versus dealership price. So basically we are comparing price between dealership costs and DIY costs when it comes to maintenance. Now, I'm only going to talk about the Honda Civic Si because that's what currently I'm driving right now at the moment. Before we jump into this video, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe below. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. We are almost there. And also hit that notification bell so you won't miss out any of my updates. So let's get started and let's compare these prices. So the first topic I want to talk about is oil. So I'm going to talk about the dealership price when it comes to a basic synthetic oil change. Now, I have took my car in the past to get an oil change at a dealership and it cost me around like $70. If you go into the do-it-yourself, you can approximately get everything around $50 of 4 quarts and also a new oil filter. Now, going to a dealership versus doing it yourself, you can basically cut out the middleman and do it yourself. It's not that hard to change oil on a Honda Civic Si, a 9th gen models, not at all. But when you take your car to a dealership, you are going to get extra checks and specs and everything like that because they're going to do a overall check on your car, make sure everything else is running properly. And you do it yourself, you're just going to change your oil. So you got your pros and your cons when it comes to dealerships when it comes to changing your oil. Now, me personally, I have did both, but also they're gonna try to add some things while you sit in the waiting room, like, oh, you need this, you need this. And at the end of the day, you really only came for one thing, to get your oil changed. And sometimes you don't want to be bothered and you don't want to hear about other expenses you gotta come up out of your pocket, you know, to fix your car. But when you do it yourself, all you think you're doing is changing your oil. Very easy. So it's gonna cost you $50 to do it yourself and cost you about $70, I say up to $120. That is the average cost at a Honda dealership when it comes to changing your oil. Depends on what type of car you have, but currently the 9th gen Honda Civic should not be that expensive, so it's gonna be around like $7 versus $50. So yes, DIY versus dealership, not really bad at all. It just time consuming. Which one is gonna save you money? Which one's gonna really, can you do this in a timely manner? Brake pads and rotors. Now, brake pads and rotors is something that a lot of people like to get changed, but sometimes when you're doing it yourself and you take it to the dealership, it can be a very crazy price point. So I've been doing some research and I just typed in a comment question, how much does it cost to do a brake pads and rotor change at a Honda dealership? The average brake pads, just the brake pads itself, for a Honda can cost you anywhere between $150 per axle to $450 per axle. Now, depending on what type of brake and pad desired, Honda brake rotor replacement costs anywhere between $300 and $750. That is ridiculous. So I don't know, that's even including labor. So I have took my car in the past to Firestone. Basically they do maintenance on your car, and I got my brake pads and my rotors changed in the front, and that approximately cost me $800 to do both. That didn't even include the back, just the fronts. And I was so mad because I could do this myself. Now, the DIY cost to doing this is really crazy. You can get all 4 brake pads and rotors, everything included in this kit, for $288. So $800 versus $288, it's ridiculous. It's even crazy because half of it, when it comes to dealership, half of that money is towards labor. I mean, you have your cons when you go to the dealership and you get everything changed because they're gonna check your car. They're gonna make sure everything's up to the spec it needs to be. When you come to DIY, you're not really into mechanical savvy. You really just want to, just do it yourself and try it out. You're gonna save some money, but at the same time, you might not have the proper tools that you need. Comparing prices part is just ridiculous. So, like, you can really do it yourself. It's not that hard to change out your brake pads and rotors on these cars. I could have done it, yes, but I was in a hurry, and I think it was around like winter time. It was cold, and Also depends if you don't have a location to work on your car. 800 versus 288, you guys decide on what route you want to take. A tune-up. So a tune-up, what does a tune-up consist of? So a tune-up consists of spark plugs, filters, and fluids. So average price between a tune-up at a dealership is between $200 to $400. If you're doing the DIY version, can you get all this under $400? You can get some spark plugs, some NGK spark plugs for like $19.99. You can get some fluids for your car. It won't even cost you maybe like at least $10 to $20 for all your fluids and your cabin filters. That might be the most expensive thing you buy. I think an average cost for a cabin filter these days is probably like $30 to $50 price range. So you can easily get all this under $400. Now, when it comes to the dealership, is the dealership gonna run tests? Yes. And the dealership gonna do other things that they don't tell you about? Yes. To make sure your car is up to the high standard. We always gonna talk about is the labor cost of the dealership. That does include labor, because I don't know how much labor is gonna affect in that price. But when it comes to DIY, you're gonna save the money because you're gonna do it all yourself. And easily, when you're working on these cars, it's not that hard to do spark plugs. It's not that hard to change your fluids out in your filters. There's so many videos online that can teach you how to do these things in a matter of seconds. So just take your time. If you really want to go the DIY route and save you some money, take your time, watch the videos, and step by step you can get it done. I promise. When it comes to dealership, I can already tell you the dealership is they're gonna mark it up super high, because it's the dealership. This is what they're gonna do. Now, they might have warranties on that markup and all kind of other things that they don't tell you, but they're gonna mark up that cost. When it comes to dealership, this is the average price for a starter at the dealership. So an average cost of a Honda Civic starter replacement is between $468 to $758. And the labor cost is estimated in between those prices. So that is a lot of money to be spending at the dealership on a starter. Now, I have shopped around to find a starter for this car because it went out like some weeks ago. And AutoZone, O'Reilly's, all these top brands online, all these automotive shops was quoting me $532, $560, $570, and it was just ridiculous, because why is a starter costing that much for a 19 Honda Civic Si? And when it comes to JDM cars, products are very little bit more cheap on the low end instead of like a European car. So I was really skeptical. So then I went to the holy grail is Amazon. I know some people don't like Amazon, but I found that started for $141. So taking your car to the dealership to get a starter replacement, it's gonna be like, we're just gonna say $800 to $1,000 versus $141. The DIY version sounds so, oh, I can do that. You actually can. You can do it yourself. It's not that hard to replace a starter on this car. And actually, it's in the very front. All you have to do is take off the manifold and some other things, and you're right there at the starter. Take your time, you'll be completely fine. Now, going to a dealership, they're gonna get it done in a timely manner. It might take them up to at least an hour. Now, when you do it yourself, you might take yourself maybe 2 days. It depends if you're comfortable doing it yourself. So we're gonna say dealership, we're gonna put around at least $758 to $1K versus $141. Now that is like ridiculous how much money you can save if you do it yourself versus take it to a dealership. Dealership has its perks and DIY has its perks too. If you want to save money, do it yourself. It's not that hard. If you want to take a dealership and put it in professional hands, take that route also. So yes, it's very crazy how much things can change when it comes to dealership versus DIY. You can save a lot more money doing it yourself than rather taking it to a dealership. Tire rotation. Tire rotation is one of those things where I won't mind taking my car to the dealership to do it if I have the time. But also DIY, do it yourself, is very easy too. There's plenty of videos online to show you how to rotate your tires. Now, Comes with rotating tires. The average cost, I looked it up, it says around like $21 to $61. That could be completely wrong now because the inflation is so crazy now. I really couldn't get an exact price point on a Honda dealership one. So in the comment section, if you know the exact price, just hit it in the comment section below. So doing it yourself is very easy. It's really all different type of methods when it comes to tire rotation. Now the dealership, they're gonna check more things. Yes, they're gonna check everything. Thread is still on. And when you do yourself, you're not really gonna check everything, but if you're really into working on the car, you're gonna make sure everything is okay. $62 and free. Well, all you do need is the tools. That's all you need is the tools at hand. That's all you need to rotate tires. And you can rotate, put the backs and the fronts. You can do a diagonal, the X one that people like to use a lot. So when it comes to doing that, it really depends on if you want to do it yourself or take it to the dealership and let a professional do it. Comparing these prices on these maintenance things that we do, it's, you look back and like, man, I really can save a lot of money if I do it myself. And that's very true. And all the things I'm talking about on this video is I have done these to my car itself. Before we get out of here, hope you guys enjoyed this video, DIY versus dealership. I think it's a very cool video to talk about because sometimes you just sit there and wonder like, damn, I'm really spending all this money on simple things I can do, and a lot of things that you know you can do but you're scared of. Just go online, do your research before, talk to people. If you have people who like to work on cars, just get their advice and see what's the best route to take. Now, if you want to take it to dealership, go ahead, be my guest. I just feel like sometimes dealerships will overprice a lot of things, and sometimes you gotta cut out the middleman and just do it yourself and save you some time. I have did it plenty of times because, you know, sometimes money get tight and I don't have time to just be throwing my money in other places where I can just do it myself. Any good to you guys if I just take to the dealership every time and I won't show you guys how to do these things on the channel. So yes, before I get out of here, I got one more thing I want to talk to you about, guys, is the new drop that is coming very soon. It is called Drive Safe. Drive Safe. So when I talk about Drive Safe, keep it safe all year. I'm talking about taking responsibility in your actions, making sure you're driving safe on the roads day in and day out. When you get in that car, come home the same way you got in it. When you build these cars and do these modifications, have fun, tune them up, make them loud, but also are you driving safe on the road and respect others? So yes, that's why I put out Drive Safe, because it's just been like this year, it's been a lot of crazy things happening in the car community. I won't even say it's technically a car community, even though we don't want to talk about that other side when it comes to takeovers and people blocking up roads and intersections. Just like the other week, I seen a video in Atlanta where they was doing donuts and the guy in the truck hit the guy just trying to run away from the cops, and it just totally went bad. So I just feel like when you in that type of environment, like, what are you really doing? What are you trying to get out of it? I know we want to show off our cars and do all this type of stuff, but can we do it in a safer spot? Can we do it in a parking lot? Can we do it with, you know, you get approval from somebody instead of doing it on a main road where people have lives and trying to get to their destination? So it's really all about me driving safe. You know, that's why I wear this shirt, and that's why I'm pushing this time around when it comes to Street Legal USA is drive safe. Make sure you guys are driving safe and respecting the roads out there, because it can get dangerous, and I want you guys to enjoy your cars, you know, and just have fun, but also be responsible. So yes, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am about to get out of here for the day. Like I said before, hit that subscribe button. You have to hit that subscribe button. You want to see more videos like this. Also, if you want to get more updates on the merch, make sure you hit up Street Legal USA on Instagram, and I give you all the updates. So when it drops, you'll be ready to get your money out and buy some cool gear. So yes, I'm out of here for the day. Like I always say, guys, drive with passion, stay active, keep going.